1,000 jobs cut at the Pentagon. Dozens of generals on the chopping block. Billions in savings. And a battlefield reborn. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has signed a sweeping directive to reshape the Army into a leaner, faster, deadlier force built for a new era of war. Citing lessons from Ukraine and threats from China. The plan slashes bloated headquarters, kills off outdated weapons, and pumps resources into drones.ai and precision missiles. But not everyone's cheering. A hiring freeze has stalled vital support roles, just as suicides and sexual assaults rise across the ranks as Trump's peace through strength doctrine drives the overhaul. This may be the most radical Army shakeup in a generation. U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has issued a sweeping directive aimed at transforming the U.S. Army into a leaner, more lethal force. Citing a new memo and U.S. officials familiar with the changes, the Associated Press reported that the move aims to slash as many as 1,000 headquarters staff in the Pentagon and shift personnel to units in the field. Colonel Dave Butler, an Army spokesman, said the potential savings over 5 years would be nearly $40 billion. U.S. officials said as many as 40 general officers' slots could be cut as a result of the restructuring. The overhaul, outlined in a memorandum signed on April 30th, prioritizes homeland security and deterring China in the Indo-Pacific while modernizing the Army's approach to warfare, personnel, procurement, and command structures. Describing the current moment as a pivotal one for national defense, Hegseth said, as Secretary, "My foremost responsibility is to ensure the lethality of our Army and the defense of our nation, the United States, and its people framed around President Donald Trump's peace. Through strength doctrine, the directive orders a rapid shift in strategy to meet the demands of modern combat, driven by the lessons of ongoing conflicts and the shifting geopolitical landscape. At the same time, senior defense officials said personnel cuts across the Defense Department will delay plans to hire at least 1,000 more civilians to help prevent sexual assault, suicides, and behavior problems within military. The officials told the Associated Press that plans to have about 2,005 personnel in place to do this prevention work throughout the military services, combatant commands, ships and bases by fiscal year 2028 have been slowed due to the hiring freeze and cuts. They said they're looking to spread out the roughly 1,400 people they've been able to hire to date and try to fill gaps as best they can until the additional staff can be hired. The memo identifies two overriding goals bolstering the defense of the U.S. homeland, including the southern border and deterring Chinese aggression across the Indo-Pacific. In response, the U.S. Army is being reoriented to support strategic deterrence through enhanced long-range strike capabilities, cyber defenses, missile systems, and unmanned technologies. The President gave us a clear mission: achieve peace through strength. To achieve this, the United States Army must prioritize defending our homeland and deterring China and Indo-Pacific region. Deterring war, and if required, winning on the rapidly evolving battlefield requires soldiers who are physically and mentally resilient, rigorously trained, and equipped with the best technology available. Notably, the plan reaffirms investments in long-range precision fires, integrated air and missile defense systems, including the Golden Dome Initiative and cyber, electronic warfare, and counterspace operations. Hegseth underscored the need to prioritize agility and technological superiority across all domains of warfare, such as land, air, space, and cyber. The transformation includes several near-term and medium-term objectives by 2026. Every division is expected to field unmanned systems and deploy ground and air-launched effects. Platoon-level units will be equipped with mobile and cost-effective counter-drone systems. At the same time, advanced manufacturing technologies, including 3D printing, will be introduced to operational units by 2027. The Army aims to achieve electromagnetic and air littoral dominance, establish AI-driven command and control systems at theater corps and division levels, equip company-sized units with advanced counterspace capabilities, and field long-range precision missiles capable of striking mobile land and maritime targets by 2028. The department is planning to fully modernize the Army's industrial base. Enabling sustained ammunition production during prolonged conflicts to fund the transformation without increasing the Army's overall budget. The directive mandates the elimination of outdated systems and wasteful programs. This includes the termination of certain manned aircraft, excess ground vehicles like the MWP, and obsolete UAV. Spending will be curtailed on legacy systems and what the memo calls unnecessary climate-related initiatives. Contracts deemed inefficient, including redundant travel budgets, will also be targeted. Pre-positioned stockpiles are to be re-evaluated to better align with evolving strategic requirements. The Army has also been instructed to modernize language training programs to improve mission readiness and cross-cultural effectiveness. Among the most substantial organizational changes is the consolidation of major Army commands. Army Futures Command and Training and Doctrine Command will be merged to streamline innovation and training functions. Similarly, Forces Command U.S. Army North and U.S. Army South will be unified into a single command focused on homeland defense and Western Hemisphere partnerships. The Army's sustainment structure will also be reconfigured. This includes integrating the Joint Munitions Command and Army Sustainment Command under Army Materiel Command to increase operational efficiency and reduce redundancy. As part of broader modernization efforts, manned attack, helicopter formations will be downsized and partially replaced with swarms of cost-effective drones. Select armored and aviation units, which are considered outdated, will be divested from across the total Army, which includes active duty, Reserve, and National Guard components. The directive also sets out changes to personnel and leadership structures. These include reducing the number of general officer roles to streamline decision-making, revising civilian hiring and firing policies to allow more flexible talent management, and prioritizing skill-based recruitment to meet the needs of a high-tech battlefield. Notably, the U.S. Defense Secretary has also called for a merit-driven workforce capable of adapting to rapidly evolving security conditions. That a significant part of the reform effort is aimed at accelerating how the Army acquires and deploys new capabilities. The memo calls for a shift from traditional program-centric funding to capability-based investment, particularly in high-priority areas such as unmanned systems, electronic warfare, and counter-U.S. technology. Hegseth also directed the Army to expand the use of other transactional authority agreements to support faster development and fielding of emerging technologies, adopt the right to repair provisions in contracts to give the Army greater control over maintaining and updating its own systems. Increase the use of multi-year procurement agreements when cost-effective. Implement performance-based contracting to improve accountability and reduce inefficiencies. The directive reflects lessons drawn from the war in Ukraine, where rapid innovation and the use of unmanned systems have been central to Ukrainian resistance. speaking alongside Army Chief of Staff General Randy George. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll remarked, "What we've learned in the last couple of years in the conflict in Ukraine is that the old way of doing war will no longer suffice." With backing from both Hegseth and President Donald Trump, Driscoll noted that the directive empowers Army leaders to make tough decisions to reallocate resources as the U.S. Army approaches its 250th anniversary in 2025. Hegseth closed the memorandum with a clear challenge our nation requires for Army to move further, faster, and fight harder than any other force on Earth. President Trump and I will not let this nation down.